Hello again. Welcome to the second session of the series. In the previous one, we talked about how a sentence is made. We said that the sentence is made of words and every word has a function. So now I hope that we can write a simple sentence. But we don't use simple sentences all the time. We combine sentences. So let's look at how we can connect sentences. First, as usual, we start with very simple stuff. Okay, I have written two sentences here for you as an example. So the first one is she read. By the way, this is past, okay? It's not she reads. She read the book. She wrote an essay. Okay, as I said, we usually don't speak like this. We put the information, connect the information, right? In this case, what I am doing basically is, when I say she read the book and she wrote an essay, I am giving more, I am adding to I give you an information, what she did, and then I add to this information. Now, in order to connect two sentences, when you want to add information to this first part of your sentence, there is a very, very simple word that we used, and that word is and. So, as usual, you see and is a connector, and it has a meaning. It adds information. So I simply can say, she read the book and wrote an essay. You see that I used a comma. About punctuation I can speak a little bit later. Let's first of all concentrate on the function of connectors. So, and is a connector, and it adds information. Obviously, if you have more pieces of information, you use commas. So she read the book, comma, took notes, and wrote an essay, for example. There is another connector. Let's take the first part. She read the book. She couldn't use the information. I just write down info because of the short space that I have. Okay, so she was hoping that the book will help her to write an essay, but she couldn't use the book. So as you can see here, the first part of the sentence and the second part of the sentence show a contrast. All right? Yes, you're right. Very simple. I can use the word but. And addition, you add information to the first part of your sentence, but contrast. Okay? So, these connectors, addition, contrast. We have a little bit more than that. So I'm going to use the space on the top. It is easier maybe a little. Okay, I changed the sentence so that it makes a little bit more sense. She was sick. She went to the doctor. The reason she went to the doctor was because she was sick. So I can again connect these two sentences using the word so. Okay, that was the reason. The result of being sick was going to the doctor. Now, there is a type of sentence, a type of connector here, is actually pretty simple, but what is important in this connector is if you reverse the result, the cause and effect. If I start with, she went to the doctor She was sick. Now here, as you can see, I have just reversed the place of cause and effect. I have to use another connector that fewer people have heard of, for. Here, it might not seem very important to know about it, and it is not, but later on, when I go to complex sentences, you will see that complex sentences are nothing more than these are called compound sentences in grammar. It's not important actually, but that's what they're called. These things that we all know, and there you understand a little bit better about how the reversal of cause and effect can affect a sentence. Okay, so let's put it together. These are the very basic ones. So connectors of simple sentences are the most used ones, obviously. There is a little bit more than that, but and, showing addition, so, showing the effect, but, showing the contrast, and for, I just write it here so that you know it's just the reversal of the effect, excuse me, effect and cause. Okay, so let us start with, I just keep to these basic compound sentences and develop complex sentences from here. Let's go to complex sentences, and I start with addition, all right, which is again the easiest one. Let's go back to our original sentence. I keep these words down here. So, she read the book, and wrote, I don't need to repeat she because it's the same, she and wrote an essay. Okay, now if I don't want to use and, I can use other words and make my sentence look extremely complex. The same thing, the same meaning, but looks a little bit different. For example, let's take something like in addition to. All right, looks quite big. I start with in addition to. All right. Now look how the sentence changes. I use another color. Reading the book. She wrote an essay. Now look how different this sentence is from this first one, although they are absolutely the same, have or contain the same pieces of information. This one looks very simple, this is how we speak. And this one looks very complex, and they are called actually complex sentences. The meaning is the same. So, what in addition to does, in addition to is acting like and, it adds information. But look how my verb has changed, and this is because of this little word, little preposition to. This is a rule. Every verb which comes after a preposition must change into ing form. It is not a verb anymore, but we don't get into that right now. Just remember this is what happens. And again, look what happened. I just used she in this part of, so this is the main part of the sentence, all right? And this piece of information is added to this part of the sentence. Now, one point here I have to explain because it is important. If you reversed the sentence and start with, she wrote an essay in addition to reading the book, you don't need any comma anymore. All right? So it is, you can do that, it's absolutely fine, depends on the sentence. As I said, in one sentence it might seem a little bit odd, but this is how it happens. Now, we have a lot of words which act like an and. They are used for adding information. And a sentence becomes complex, right? It is not compound anymore, it's a complex sentence. There are many examples that you can find everywhere. Okay, the list is obviously in our units. Let's go to another one, contrast, but. Here maybe we have more choices. So if I go for a complex sentence using but, I have to change my sentence a little. So we had the sentence was she read the book, but couldn't write. The book didn't help her. An essay. All right. So let's start with some words that I am absolutely sure you have heard of. For instance, although. Okay, so I start with although she read the book, comma, she couldn't write an essay. Okay, again, you can reverse and start with she couldn't write an essay although she read the book and forget about the comma. Instead of although, you can use another word. You can say though, you can say even though, you can say all these things, all right? Now, let us use another word which exactly is like but we have to change the sentence again. However, where do you think I have to put however? Yes, however doesn't start here. You have to start with this sentence this time. So you have to say, she read the book, however, she couldn't, and the rest of the sentence, write an essay. All right? You could, with however, you have a little bit more flexibility, actually. You could put a full stop and start the next sentence with however, comma. All right? So as you can see, these words look really big, and they make the sentence look very complex, but the meaning is basically the same meaning that you use with this little word but. It's absolutely, exactly the same. There are, again, a lot of words, a lot of connectors like this that help you to create complex sentences. These are just some of the very, very common examples that I have used. You have thus, even though, however, nevertheless, and so on and so forth, with little nuances or delicate differences in meaning, maybe sometimes. Right, let us go to, very quickly, to so. So, I don't know, for instance, she was tired, so she stayed at home. Cause, effect. Instead of so, what other words do you think we can put here? Yes, therefore is one of the very, very well-known ones, right? So she was tired, again, comma, therefore she stayed at home. Again, just look at how immediately the sentence looks different using these words like therefore, as a result of, all these are connectors which have exactly the same function of so. However, careful, if I use, instead of she was tired, as a result, or, these are the kind of things, again, be careful about the commas position or the punctuation position. Now, I want to come to this one, to 4. You remember I said if you reverse cause and effect, you can easily use for. So I say she stayed home for she was sick, which actually nobody uses this sentence, but grammatically the sentence is correct. Instead of for, I know what came to your mind immediately. Another word which is extremely common, and yes, it is correct. So I could say, she stayed at home because she was tired. Absolutely. All right, this is what you can use. This is again extremely common. Everybody knows that and uses it correctly. But let us go to other connectors which have the same meaning but create a little bit of difference in the sentence. Another connector, which exactly functions as because is due to. I'm sure you've heard of it, but let's look at it here. So, if I start with due to, you remember the rule, preposition? And here is my verb, or actually this part is my verb, was. Look what happens. I need ing form, right? Due to being tired, she stayed at home. So look how different it becomes if you use these other connectors. All right, so what we learned today, actually two very important things. One, sentences have to be connected. They can be connected in a very, very simple way, using and, adding information, but contrasting information, so, cause and effect, for, reverse of the places of cause and effect. With the same meaning, we can use other connectors and make bigger changes in sentences and create complex sentences. And this is what you need to learn, because at your level, complex sentences are required. We don't need, or we don't want to hear so many simple sentences anymore. For addition, you can, for adding information, you can use like and, you can use for example, in addition to, there are a lot more, also, and so on and so forth. For but contrast, you can use although, even though, nevertheless, however, and so on and so forth. For so, cause and effect, you can use words like therefore, as a result of, and so on. For, the reverse, if you remember, or if you don't remember that, remember because. We can use connectors like this one, due to, due itself, and so on. Please be careful about the changes that these words might create in the sentence, and usually it is the verb changing into an ing form or not. Okay? So, as you can see, again, the concept is basically pretty simple. What you need to remember are a little bit cosmetic changes, if you like, of playing around with the verb, changes with the verb, or commas, punctuation, semicolons, and so on. Now, for more information about these details, you can refer to the unit and find out more. Thank you.